Ho 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 ho! Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends lovers, as well as haters, welcome back! Somehow, it's been 2 weeks, and the patch notes have creeped up on me once again. I swear to God, I didn't even notice it was 2 weeks ago, but granted, that's what happens when you're not having too much going on in your life. So, we are here once again to go over the patch notes. Now, always a disclaimer. It has been quite a while since I have played League of Legends. So, a lot of these are going to be massive conjecture, massive, I'm forgetting the word for it now, but my opinions not based in reality because I have not played a lot recently. But that's going to change because this week we have the World's Pass coming out and I should get back on the game and grind it. For those of you who don't know, the World's Pass is going to be probably the longest pass of this year. It lasts for like a month and a half. It lasts till I believe November 11th. And for the first time ever, if you queue in a party of 2 or more, you actually get 30% more experience, I believe. So, ladies, hit me up. I'm always down to queue. Either way, though, in all seriousness, I really didn't know what was going to be in this patch. I was like, oh, this is going to be a nonsense patch. And as I always say, I was going to hope to God that we get through this rather quickly, even though we don't. But I did notice from just skimming this first paragraph here that this is the patch they're actually reintroducing lethal tempo. And we have some pretty huge changes here too. Now, this isn't preseason per se, because we're going to get probably huge changes there too. But this is the beginning of Split 3, so they are mixing it up a little bit, which is good. And then obviously going forward, if you guys didn't check out my reaction to the dev update, where they basically gave more news about skins, events, and all the shebang. They basically said now going forward, League is at least going to have 3 new champions a year because every split is going to be very themed either around that champion or around something God knows what. But either way, that's for the future. We're talking about now. Let's see what's going to be in the game now that I'm returning to it. Let's take a look. Welcome to patch 14.19, the start of Split 3. Yippee! So I have to regrind ranked, but that's fine because, again, the pass is out so I can actually play again. We've got a huge system update, nerfing almost every legendary item in the game between 5 to 12%. By doing this broad nerf, we're hoping to reduce snowballing, slow down late-game combat pacing, and make overall combat in the game more readable. We're primarily reducing movement speed, ability haste, and damage output for classes and subclasses that don't need it, while preserving these stats for those who do. Excuse me. On that topic, I really hope ADCs do not get touched, but we're going to see. We're also re-adding lethal tempo back into the game, by replacing the very high late game attack speed and capstone bonus range with extra on-hit damage instead. Wow, they kind of just ruined the surprise, holy shit. Which should still make it a great sustained damage rune without invalidating attack speed purchases. This change comes with smaller updates to a few minor runes as well. So, the big thing that I don't really understand is the way it was, right? Lethal Tempo was kind of made, I think, mostly for ADCs at first, obviously. And then other classes abused it too, namely, from what I can remember, Yone and Yasuo. They were big abusers of it. And it was basically used in the early game to just win like every trade against someone who didn't have lethal, because you're attacking so fucking fast anyway. Unless you're against someone like Xin Zhao who could just beat the shit out of you no matter what. So them removing it and then them bringing it back, it feels like they kind of freaked out or they didn't know what they were doing. Because usually what they do is they nerf it into existence, but at least they keep it in the game. They straight up took it out. And now that it's been out, I don't know if they're re-adding it because a lot of people feel, and by a lot of people, hopefully ADCs, feel like, wow, what do we use now? Most people default to Fleet Footwork, which got nerfed out of existence as usual. And then after that, you basically have Conquer, which isn't that good on most people. So your default option on most ADCs is PTA, which is actually a pretty good rune. But overall, I loved Lethal Tempo. It was my favorite rune because I like old school crit style ADCs that attack a lot. So I'm really glad to see it back, but we gotta see how much better or worse it is. This on-hit damage better be crazy, and this also might technically be a Kog'Maw buff, which is really fucking good, because I really feel like from what I've played, Kog'Maw isn't doing that good, but on-hit is always good, so Kog'Maw might be getting a secret buff. But either way, a few champions are getting noteworthy updates. Elise has been re-scripted and gone a few QOL changes. Cassant is never going to stop getting touched. Tristana has been giving a pass over each of her abilities. to buff her bot lane without delivering as much power to her mid. I'm curious how they're going to do that, because as I keep saying every patch notes video, Tristana and all the other ADCs that kind of go mid, their big issue tends to become the fact that they're mobile. They're mobile and they do a lot of early game damage. Lucian's kind of in the middle here, where I think he's used more of a counter. But Tristana and Corki, what is the main thing they do? They do a lot of damage, they scale really well, but they're mobile. So I don't know how they can hit them, because it sounds like Seraphine all over again. I honestly don't know how the fuck they can hit them, or hit her, without affecting her bot lane, so she's probably getting hard nerfed. Either way, to kind of say a little bit also on the legendary item nerfing, this is really interesting. I think this is good because even though it takes away from a little bit of late game fantasy, and technically early game too when you finish your first item, I think overall this is good because I feel like, and again, I don't know because I haven't played League in over a month, but I like when games last longer and things aren't as snowbally. Now, granted, that feels bad if you're winning, right? You can't close out games. It kind of feels like, wow, what do I have the lead for? I mean, ultimately, League is a team game. Oh my Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. But, essentially, I think overall this is probably a good change. At least they're mixing something up. But either way, we're also adding several usability and QL features into the game. Players can queue up and partially buy legendaries with a single click. What does that mean, partially? What? Like items or skins? Complete with an on-screen reminder of when it's time to recall to finish the job, or when you forgot to buy anything at all. Oh, so you could queue it up in the shop. Okay. Potions will remind you when they're in your inventory, and when you're low. Turn particles have been updated and grown in size and ferocity. That's really good. That's actually probably the best change so far, aside from the shop one. A new announcement has been added for the spawn of epic monsters, and when your jungler gets invaded and they're too busy fighting for their life to beseech you for help, basically to just beg ping you, the game will now automatically inform your teammates of the active threat. So, more than anything, you know, when does quality of life become hand-holding, right? The biggest example of this, historically speaking, has been when they added jungle timers, especially for the enemy to see too. Because back in the day, jungle actually used to be hard as shit. You needed to memorize timers. You need to know how long this spawns back when you kill it. And people would write the timers in chat too, especially when they countered. So I don't take those as quality of life. I take those as more just actual just babying. But for this stuff, it's like, I don't know where the line is, right? The item in the shop thing is 100% quality of life. That doesn't really change anything. But the getting an alert when your jungler is getting jumped by like a Shaco with Ignite or something, that's something I think is on the side of babying, because it's a skill to have to look in the map and have map awareness. Now, you know, is this a bad or a good thing? I honestly don't know, and I always say it really depends on what side of the fence you're on. Do you want the game to be easier and more casual, or harder and more serious? It really depends. I personally don't really mind it, but I'm more of a casual myself now anyways, even though I'm Emerald. But either way, that's interesting. Let's see. A new announcement has been added for spawn. Okay. If you're looking for a deeper dive into the gameplay changes, you can look at the dev blog there, which we're not really going to go over. We have a shit ton of skins to go through, some of which I know, some of which I don't, but it is the Fright Night skins, which I think are some of the best in the fucking game. We're going to look at those at the end. Ultimate Spellbook's out, which means Arena, I think, is gone, sadly. And let me check on that, too. Is Arena gone yet? It's still in, but I think in the next couple of days, it's probably going to be gone, which is really sad. And they said they're not making it permanent from the dev update video, so it is what it is. But it'll be back. Basically, League's thing going forward is they want every person to get on and have a third game mode to play. So a third rotating game mode is always going to be out, according to them. Now, you know, are we going to get Earth for the billionth time? Sure, probably, because they love it. Ultimate Spellbook, I think, is a little boring, but, you know, we'll see, because I've played it multiple times. But for people who haven't, it's good. I just wish they would add a couple more new ones. Like, if we got Swarm rotating, and if we got Arena rotating, and then one more new game mode on top of Earth, on top of Spellbook, and maybe even Doombots. I would like to see if they bring Doombots back, too. But I feel like right now I'm just so sick of these shits. But either way. Obviously, you know, Ultimate Spellbook, you'll choose another ultimate, and, you know, it's the same old shit. Ultimate ammo has also been added. Wait, hold up. Wait, let me actually read this. You'll be offered more ultimates throughout the game? Okay, that's actually really good. Would a bonus change your mind? Golden stat bonuses are offered to tempt you away from that perfect ult. Swap your ultimates at the shop or death after 8 minutes. So it kind of reminds me almost of oh god, what was that fucking rune? Unsealed Spellbook, I think, where you could change runes, but it's literally with ultimates now. The ultimate ammo has been added. If you kill an epic monster, you'll have an extra charge for your alternate summoner. Oh god, the way they said that. Cast your ultimate and 3 seconds later cast it again. I don't know if that was inspired by Arena or not, but that's something you could do in Arena too. That's crazy. So here's the list of ults you can get. Aurora, which is really good. Smolder, which is okay. Hui, which is alright. Ziggs, which is crazy. Lona, which is annoying. Nautilus, which is crazy. Ornn, Nami, Kennen. So a lot of teamfight ults, not bad. And then Zillion. And then they have other updated. So, upgraded older ultimates, blah, blah, blah. Oh, nice. They have auto smite too. Cool. Champion bounty system. Baron has a lesser spawn. Things spawn a lot faster, looks like. So the game is meant to be quick, which is good, because now people have short-term attention spans and they want to get stuff done quickly. Very cool. So the Honor updates. I realistically don't think they're going to do anything with Honor at the earliest, probably the start of next season, but we really got to see. They keep saying, because people keep complaining that Honor's ass, and it kind of is. And they keep saying, yeah, we're working on it, don't worry, but nothing ever happens. So what are they doing here? A brand new Honor voting experience is live in 14.19. Starting this patch, players will be able to honor both teammates and enemies. Wow. Cool. So the My Bad interactive emote. Wait, what? So this default button is, I think, the I key. Or maybe the L key. I honestly don't know if that's capitalized or not. You can press that to let you know everything's okay. Wow. So you basically could say sorry. People are gonna use this to troll. Like, they're gonna steal your caddy and then just gonna be like, oh, my bad. This is where Riot sometimes doesn't really think of these things. I mean, it's a nice thing to have, it's cute, but it's more funny than anything. Anyway, Split 3 starting. Ranked queues are gonna come back online after being disabled, yada yada yada. And then we're gonna get our rewards too. Ward experience. What is this? Wards no longer grant XP when killed. Oh. Wow. The gold reward is far more enough. Wow, okay. So they're just not giving XP. That's fine. All right, and now we get finally to the champion changes. But before we get into this, let me eat a nugget real quick because I'm hungry. I'm hungry, naked, and afraid because I just came out the shower. What are they doing to fucking Elise? By the way, those of you who don't know, I absolutely hate Elise. I think Elise, Lee Sin, and I forgot who else, but those two characters suck ass and need to be reworked or removed. Because they're so bad and they do nothing. At least later on in the game. Either way, Elise, what are they doing? Passive Spiderlings now always regen when resummoned and jump on Q cast. So it's kind of similar to York's Ghoulies. Human E now reveals stealth the units that can be redirected via flash. What? Spider E buff now applies on casting and be recast. Oh? And our cooldown decreased. So Lisa's getting a lot of quality of life here. Let me see. So sadly, I've only ever played Elise. I think I can count it on my one hand how many times, and I don't even know how many times, but it's definitely not more than 5. But Spiderlings regenerating is good. I think this is, I don't know how strong the Spiderlings are, because whenever I see Elise, I'm not scared, and I don't even see Elise a lot, so. Target gets revealed for the short duration. Now reveal stealth units, okay. And now flash during the cast, or repel, okay. And then the arc balloon's going from 4 to 3. That's pretty interesting. Huh. I'm just going to assume Elise is a lot better. We got to see. Hopefully we'll see her more because I still think she probably sucks ass. Anyway, here we have Cassant. So as always with Cassant, he's always getting changed. And they're probably nerfing the shit out of him because this is the patch after Worlds at this point too. But give me 1 second while I go check on something. Anyway, I'm back. So, Sante is getting his basic attack range reduced, which is huge. Like, look at this whole fucking essay here. This is legit like a high school essay right here. What the fuck? And all of his abilities are adjusted. Oh, good lord. Like, they have a problem with Yumi. They have a problem with Zeri. Where literally Zeri's creator, I believe Riot August, he said, like, oh, I regret making Zeri. That's the biggest mistake of my career. Who the fuck made Cassante? Is that person even still alive? Like, what is this? Now, granted, maybe he was so OP because of the little collab with Lil Nas X or whatever, but let's take a look at what they're doing. Cassante is intended to be a difficult champion, which imagine him at release now. In the hands of skilled players, he offers high levels of safety, reliability, and general power regardless of his circumstance relative to his skill of enemies. You know what the sad part is? I really like watching Cassante. Like, I hate playing him. I'm really bad at him, but I love watching him. So obviously he's been a pro staple since his inception. Our aim, however, is to not make Cassante an easy champion, which he's not. Or that anyone can pick him up and play, which I don't think they can. He should absolutely be a more difficult champion who rewards deep mastery and experience. That's why they took away a lot of the skill expression in his kit. He should not be a champion who top tier players can reliably pick into any situation. See, this just counters a lot of what they've done to him so far. Like, his W, you used to be able to charge it, you used to be able to, like, decide where to go with it. Now they just took that away. Like, a lot of stuff from Cassante is gone now, where it feels the exact opposite of what they're saying here. But either way. When Cassante player pops off, it should be clear to all that the success was earned, which is kind of like how I feel about Akali players. They really have to work for it. With these changes, we're asking Cassante to commit to fights and actively outplay his opponents. So they probably mean with the E or something, who knows. His Qs and Ws are less reliable, but players who can consistently land their spells regardless should find more success. His lane safety has been reduced, so they're probably nerfing his tank. We're also solidifying the roles of his two forms as Warden and Skirmisher. He should be excellent at protecting his allies and thrive as a fighter. I wonder if they're going to start bringing him support because of this. I wonder if it's going to be a Tom Ken situation. Either way, his all-out E has been reshaped to fit the frequent repositioning. Rather than increasing the range that it's used for diving squishy backline champions, because that's realistically what he became. He became an assassin. The damage profile of his ultimate form has been updated to focus on target agnostic damage. They should just do max health, honestly. As a monster hunter, should be better equipped to cut down enemies of all sizes, so hopefully max health damage. Overall, we expect these changes of the magnitude to require some relearning, so basically they're probably going to nerf him again. His attack range is going down by 25, that sucks. Oh my dear god, like what is this? Did they get a fucking mathematician? What the hell? I mean, I get, again, it is the start of the new split, so if there's any time to go crazy aside from preseason, it's now, but oh my lord. So either way, they're nerfing the max health damage, but they're buffing the base damage. They're also, I guess, oh wait, no, this is his passive. Oh. Now causes Cassante's wait, what? What the fuck? That's not even proper grammar. And passive to deal an additional 1% of the target's max health as physical damage while in his ult, so he does more damage. No longer deals true damage, no longer deals increased damage, no longer gains 25 range against marked people. Okay, well, his passive's definitely worse. His Q, his Entofo strikes. The mana cost is getting equalized, which is good. The damage is getting only based off resistances now. I don't think people really built him AD, but the 40% AD scaling, even without building AD, is still decent. They also massively buffed the base damage. Holy shit. The cooldown is now a little bit nerfed. Okay. Wow. All-out cooldown modifier is now reduced by 33. I don't know if that's a buff or a nerf, and I don't really care because he's probably going to get changed again. The cast time is getting nerfed. No longer has a reduced cast time while all out. Once again, slows enemies hit while all out. The width is lesser, so it's harder to hit. Remove the 100 unit circle hitbox around Cassante for Q1. No longer resets upon casting R. So his Q is kind of gutted. His Q is a lot worse. So they say it's a rebalancing. It's really just a nerf, man. There's some good parts, sure, but it's really just terrible. So W, Pathmaker. So the damage of his W is going, I think, down, but it's now doing max health, so that's interesting. So now deals a maximum of damage against monsters because they don't want him jungling, I guess. The cooldown is going down a lot. The minimum cast time is going down. The maximum cast time is going down. Will now go partial distance if not fully charged. So you could charge it again now, which is interesting. I think. The stun duration is kind of gutted based on charge duration. He can no longer change his direction after casting the spell. That's terrible. While an all-out now deals an additional percent of its damage as true damage. Okay, so they kind of moved it from the passive. Okay, all-out damage reduction is higher. No longer charges more quickly in all-out. Wow. So he's a little slower, too. So E, footwork. Let's see if this really does help teammates. Now has a 50% reduced cooldown while all-out. That's kind of insane. The cooldown is a little bit lower overall, too. No longer grants increased range. No longer resets Cassante's basic. No longer goes over walls, which is huge nerf. The dash speed is scaling now. The dash speed to ally is unchanged. All-out dash speed is a little bit higher. And then all-out dash speed to ally is much higher. Wow. Interesting. So the E is probably the thing that got hit the least, except for the fact that it can't go over walls now. But he's just getting fucked, man. So they really just want him to do more damage. Like, what? Anyway, finally his ult. His ult now does physical damage, so it's easier to itemize against him. The follow-up damage is actually a lot better scaling for him now, because instead of scaling off AP, which he should never build, it scales off his actual health, which he should build. The duration is cut by a quarter. The attack speed is massively increased. It grants Armor Pen and Omnivamp. It no longer grants attack damage, which is, I guess, okay. No longer grants healing. So they said they want him to be better in extended fights, but they reduced his ult duration. Again, they're just veiling this as a big nerf. No longer grants healing. Crazy. Can no longer be reactivated to end early. So you have to use the whole thing. Will now properly reduce bonus resistances from Jack Show the Protean. So that's like a bug fix / nerf. Okay, to put this all in perspective, he's just worse. He does more damage, sure, but he's worse. And not much. Alright, Tristana. Let's see what the fuck they're gonna do to my girl. I'm really scared with this. Basic attack range, damage, and attack speed ratio increased? Wow, I thought after the whole mid fucking that she did, she would get, like, put into the ground. 80 growth HP, regen growth, and armor growth decreased. Okay, so they're making her squishier. So they're leaning more into her ADC stats, and they want her to scale, probably. Passive range decreased at higher levels, probably to compensate for the initial change to range. Q attack speed increased, W slow decreased, and duration changed to a flat value. WAD ratio added, E damage profile reworked to value crit. If there's any way to do it, it's with that. R cooldown changed to a flat value. R stun? What? R damage profile reworked to account for AD ratio. So what do they have to say about this? Tristana was sadly locked away in Pro Jail early this year, but now that the season is over with, because this patch is obviously after the Worlds one, it's time to free her. Our goal here is twofold. First, we want to buff her, as she's weak relative to other champions in her class. True. Second, we want to make sure her strengths are more tuned to the bottom lane by making her scale off crit. To do this, we're lowering the value of experience, raising the value of gold, and offering a few QOL changes. Okay, cool, so let's see. The explosive charge passive change should make it harder for her to have automatic push in mid lane. While in bot lane, she can now cleanly hit the last 5 out of 6 minions under her turret. Ooh. Because that would be a little bit of an annoying issue, the fact that her E would kind of lower minions if you're just last hitting, and then you kind of fuck up the whole wave under tower. Either way, the previous tuning would immediately ruin every melee minion after just hitting one. True. Tristana players may want to delay rank 2 of E to preserve this change. Oh, they're giving us little tips and tricks. The R stun duration will help Tristana's ultimate apply full crowd control value even when her opponents are pushed into a wall. Much more common in ball lane. As the knockback of the... Okay, let me just read the shit. The active change means she can't go for so basically they're making her scale. Okay. So her attack range is going up by 50. Her damage is going up. Her growth is going down, obviously. Her regen's going down. The big thing I want to see is the E. Let's see. So the bonus range is going down by 11. So overall, she actually is getting more range from this no matter what. Because she's gaining 25 here and losing 11 here. So it's ultimately a net positive, which is great. The attack speed on Q is going up, which is great. W slow is a little bit less, but that's fine. The slow duration is 2 seconds flat, that's fine. The damage is going down, which is okay. You really shouldn't be using this for damage. This is more for mid lane, honestly. So that's good. So now, the big bad E. So the passive explosive damage is lower by a lot. The active damage is now kind of nerfed, but it has a crit strike modifier. Wow. 33% more damage at 100% critical strike chance. Damage is multiplied by up to 2.15. So it's going to 75% more. Oh my god. And the Infinity Edge like helps it too. Holy shit. Wait, Tristana Z's actually going to chunk you now. It's going to be like a mini nuke. See, and that's really good because that's the main thing you think of with Tristana. Ironically enough, later on in the game, she has a nice, hyper carry because she has resets and everything. But, I'm not saying the bomb doesn't do damage, but when you think of Tristana, the bomb is half the battle. The other half is I'm just going to auto you to death, right? But this bomb is now a threat. Like, holy fucking shit. So anyway, Buster Shot has a new stun of 0.7 seconds. The cooldown is 100, so it's a huge buff there. And the damage is a little bit lesser, but honestly, this is fine because now it has a bonus AD ratio. Holy fucking shit. Tristana is probably going to be fucking broken, man. This is insanity. She is scaling, though. That's really interesting. Wait, what the fuck? We're already up to the Vs. Oh, probably because they're changing all the items. Okay. Hopefully we'll go quickly through the items, but barely any champion changes here, but big changes at that. Like, we literally have... I don't think I've ever seen this little champion changes in a while. It's just Elise, Cassante, Trist, and Vlad, of all people. So let's see what they're doing against Vlad. WMAX Vladimir has become a fairly common build. I never thought I would have seen the day with that. While it isn't very good, Vladimir's win rate has actually decreased. The gameplay quality. That's crazy. So people are doing it, but they're just stupid. Oh my god, he got worse. Quality is extremely poor since now he's sustained so much off every move. So even though it's worse, it's probably cancer to play against. This patch will bring up the minion healing down a fair bit, even though it's not good. We've also updated the tooltip to be clear about the heal's functionality. So it's 60% as effective, and it's not mitigated by target resistances. Cool. Vladimir's obviously a little worse. Okay, items. So again, I'll try to go through these quickly, but let's see. We're broadly nerfing most completed items with a few primary goals, like they said. They want to slow down the pace of combat late game. And I don't know if this is at all related to what they said about how an open nexus feels like you just lost, just give up. Maybe that could be the case, or at least part of the solution that they're thinking of, but who knows. This pace reduction should be felt in actual speed, so much as move speed and ability haste, but also in burst damage, blah blah blah. They want to reduce the rate of snowballing, which I think, that just takes fine tuning. Every season could be different. Okay, so lanes don't feel hopeless. Third, we want classes to play out more distinctly. The burst classes will be bursty but not so well rounded. They can also compete as DPS threats, which I think is good. DPS champions should have a much harder time bursting, and champions whose strengths are indexed and durability will have to rely. So a big thing I've always said is I feel like tanks kind of are just getting the long end of the shaft here for a while. Maybe this will help with that, because at least as an ADC player, even sometimes when I play major top lane, tanks just take slightly longer to kill. Unless you're playing Scion or Ornn, or maybe even Maokai. It really, honest to God, and obviously there's exceptions like also Rammus and Galio, but it really feels like tanks just aren't that tanky aside from the ones I just mentioned. Like, tanks to me are kind of a joke. I just ignore them. Or I just kill them. Just slightly longer. But either way. What are they doing? Around that tanks to do their jobs. We'll get into more context for these changes in each section, but broadly we nerf most legendary items between 5 and 12%. So I wonder if it's just stat nerfs or if it's passive nerfs too. So let's see. Our goal with components is to accurately hit their true goal to stat values. Early resource and regeneration is still intentionally overpriced. They shouldn't feel like such large downgrades. So what are they doing? Dagger's getting buffed. This is getting buffed. Wait, most of these are getting buffed. Well, needlessly is getting kind of nerfed, but okay. Epic items, they're getting repriced to meta. Okay, so the same shit. So Hex Drinker is worse. Caulfield's is better. Scout Slingshot is a lot better. Hearthbound Axe is better. Noon Quiver is getting a different recipe too. Wow. So it's only one longsword now. So you're getting less stats for building into it. Until you finish it, I guess. But even then, you're getting less stats in general. Wow. Rectrix, which is a crazy name. This looks like Zaya's Feather, if anything. This is getting nerfed. Zeal is getting nerfed. Oblivion Orb is getting nerfed. Most of these are just getting nerfed. Okay. I mean, again, I kind of already said my two pieces on this. Fighter items. So what did they say with this? There's skirmishers, and then there's divers, and then there's juggernauts. Okay. We focus on balancing iron power budget between durability, which is a lot of fun. Okay. So Wit's End. I actually care about this item because Kog'Maw uses it. We're removing some of the level and stat scaling from various items in order to slow down late game combat. While Wit's End has come a long way, so it's probably going to get nerfed. When it also gave 40 AD on purchase, it's still a solid aggressive item with a meaningful amount of magic resist. I felt always that Wit's End was a really good item. Like, the stats it give you for what it does and the price, it feels like a jack of all trades. I'm going to do damage, counter your damage. What more do you fucking want? Like, it's crazy. So what are they going to do? Attack speed's going down by 5, that's fine. MR's going down by 5, that's okay. And the on-hit damage is getting giga nerfed, which is really sad. Okay, so this is a lot worse. God fucking damn it. Eclipse is worse. Chempunk. Let's see what they think of this. So obviously this is Grievous Wounds, Epic and Legendaries. Epics are cheap and readily accessible. Legendaries are side efficient. So I feel like honestly having and one of the ways they did kind of address this, but having anti-heal on early items, especially back in the day where there was no difference between the component and the full item, it basically shut people down too quickly. All you had to do, and I'll give you the example, all you had to do in a Nasus lane was just get anti-heal, first item, then build whatever the fuck else you want. You've countered Nasus, you've won. Like, well, maybe for a little bit longer, but Grievous Wounds back in the day felt very oppressive. Then they had the wise idea, which was actually good, I'm not even memeing, which was to change how much Grievous Wounds get applied, right? So on components, it applies less than it does on the full item, which was great. I still think it's, I don't know if it's strong or not, because again, I haven't really played, but let's see. So they're nerfing the cost. They are changing the building material to giant spell, so it's a little bit more expensive, obviously. The health is going up by 200, which is good. And then the attack damage is going down by 10. So this is overall a worst item. Cool. Hexplate is getting changed for this. The AD is going down. Wow, this is getting like giga nerfed. Holy shit. 15 AD, 5 attack speed, and at least it's getting more health, but damn. Hullbreaker. Okay, so this is interesting. Hullbreaker used to be a very niche item for split pushers. Then they just said, fuck it, anyone could use it. I'm really curious what they're going to do with this, because I don't know if this is good or not. I really like it because I love split pushing, but we got to see. There's a lot of changes for Hullbreaker. They're mainly focused on making it tankier that appeals to fighters who want to convert their health into damage. Oh. So the recipe is changing. They're getting rid of the Rectrix. The AD is going down by a huge amount, which is crazy because I guess it better have health scaling, but we'll see. The AD is getting giga nerfed. The health is going up by 150, which is almost nothing. The move speed's going down. The on-hit damage is, like I thought, getting better scaling with health. Okay. So yeah, it's just scaling better with health. Cool. So you're actually incentivized to get this on more tanky people. Black Cleaver is a little bit worse. Maw is a little bit worse. So again, mostly nerfs. Some buffs here and there. Like, Shojin looks like it got a little nerf, but not bad with the basic ability haste. It's leaning more into its niche. Thundered Sky, this is getting nerfed. Although now it's, it's just straight up nerfed. Blade is nerfed. Everything's nerfed. So, we really don't need to go through this unless it says something big. Oh, God. Okay, wait. We need to go through this. I was wrong. ADCMs. Here's the first section where a meaningful amount of movement speed has been pulled out of the system. This is very dangerous for the pure fact that a lot of ADCs who are immobile rely on that shit. Now, granted, maybe it's fair, although I doubt it is, but maybe it's fair because now items don't kill as hard. But ADCs having no move speed, I mean, granted, you don't want them to be flying around OP as shit, killing everyone and not having any repercussions, but... Ooh, I'm a little scared. While we think ADCs deserve solid access to consistent move speed just like fighters do, these numbers shouldn't have been so high that they actually run faster than fighters themselves. They are ranged, but at that point, kiting is a skill. We generally reducing level scaling from the items and trying to place some AD crit items at reasonable first slot purchases. Oh. It's because they don't like people getting static or kraken, which I think is fine. Although at that point, when would you get static or kraken? But either way, because I think those items help a lot more in lane than anything. So PD is going down in move speed, that's fine. Although I wish PD was one of the ones they really didn't touch, or they made it to 10% instead of 8. Because PD really doesn't give you much besides just stat stick. It's really a stat stick item. Navori is getting a little bit worse, that's fine. Runan's is getting a little bit worse. As long as they're not touching damage, I'm honestly fine with this. Rapid Fire is actually getting nerfed with the damage, god fucking damn it. Manamoon's getting nerfed, Mermano's getting nerfed. Shiv is getting nerfed. I hate this item. I miss old Shiv, actual Shiv. Rageblade is getting hard nerfed. God damn it. Lord Doms is getting nerfed by 10. Holy shit. Boost Wounds only needs to be softish and doesn't need to be strong competition. So Mortal Reminder is also going to be worse than LDR. So it's more expensive and does less pen, which is, excuse me, why Lord Doms exists in the first place. I felt like for a certain time, there was very little difference between Mortal and Lord Doms. Where it's like, you might as well get Mortal, because the extra pen doesn't mean much, because again, tanks are already a joke. And the healing reduction is really good, so glad to see they're differentiating them more. Terminus is nerfed, even though this item is really niche. Essence Reaver is nerfed. Kraken is not nerfed too badly. Oh, never mind. It's nerfed pretty fucking badly. Oh my god. 310 to 200. Wow. Blade is nerfed, like they said before. Collector is nerfed a little bit hard. Wow. Yuntal. Let's see this shit. So, Yuntal is interesting because I feel like only certain people use it. Maybe Samira, for sure, Jin. I really like the idea of this item, but it's just not that good because it really doesn't give anything besides just crit and AD, from what I remember. Like, no move speed, no nothing else. But granted, the passive is strong, but it's like, I think, sleeper strong. I really like this item, though. We think there's more work to be done for Yuntal, but this light touch actually makes them stronger. While getting rid of some gold scaling that was practically identical, just being a crit strike item, our goals for Yuntal Hurricane. Oh! Interesting. So, they're changing the build path, so they're making it build out of BF now. But the price seems to be the same, and now the bleed is just 70. Ooh. I'm gonna be honest. I actually don't like this at all. This is better for nearly everybody except Jin, and that's my main issue. This hurts Jin a lot because Jin gains more AD than anyone. So this is actually a really big nerf on Jin. I don't like this at all. Oh my god. But they did say for core auto attackers, but Jin is kind of a core auto attacker, but he's very niche. He's very different. Damn. Oh my god, I don't like this. Mercurial's getting worse. Infinity Edge is getting worse. Wow. There's no reason I shouldn't be at least tied for the most expensive item in the game. That's true. It should be it's basically the Rabadons of ADCs, but oh my god. So obviously they want you to build this afterward. Damn. Assassin items. Assassins suck. The haste is going down for Glaive, but Glaive is really just like a warding item realistically. Ghostblade is going a little bit up, but that's fine. And the move speed is getting nerfed across the board. That's crazy. Opportunity is getting nerfed. Edge of Night is getting nerfed. All these are getting nerfed. Action Mark's getting nerfed. Wow. Action Mark is kind of getting a fucking big nerf too. Holy shit. Cyrilda's grudge is mostly returned to its old caster assassin form. Oh? So the cost is going down. It's obviously recipe is changing. It's getting more haste. And then they're just giving it armor pen. I honestly don't remember what Rancourt did, but the armor pen is really nice, so interesting. They're saying it's still nerfed because you're losing lethality, which I guess this is better for a late game item when people would build it early. Anyway, Profaned Hydra. I've actually rarely ever built this item. I like other Hydra more. But realistically speaking, according to my preferences, though, I really should like this more. What are they doing? Killing champions quickly. We're fine with profane being niche for assassins. But killing enemy champions should mostly come from scaling up one's base kit, not printing new spell. So they're nerfing... No, they're buffing the cost. They're nerfing the haste. The cleave is going down. The cleave radius is going down. Holy shit. And then now it's just getting massive nerfed on the active. Wow. Oh my sweet god. AP items. The ability power system is broadly used by several classes of champions. There's AP skirmishers like Lilia, AP juggernauts like Mord, burst mages like Annie and LeBlanche, assassins like Fizz and Akali, artillery like Zerath, and ones who blur the lines like Singed and Diana, the weirdos. Instead of looking at P items through the lens of classes, let's talk about the needs of mana, durability, burst, and repeatability. There are 5 mana items, which are Roa, which is barely used by most people, and the 4 Lost Chapter upgrades. Each of these should be distinct in what they provide. Bursty champions are often for Ludens. See, they always say the same shit. I feel like they're always like trying to nail down like, oh, these are for burst, these are for this. But they never get it down because they have to keep repeating it. But either way. Meanwhile, champions won a lot of repeated. Will know slower AP counts as their path to victory is multiple spell rotations. Not just obviously one-shotting people with one, even though you have so much mana. Not destroying their opponent with just one, like I just said. Overall, these changes are primarily about making different AP builds stand out. So they're nerfing Poke, it sounds like. Poke isn't going to be as strong. They're not direct changes in the AP system, which generally lower the amount of MR and non-take items. Ooh. So obviously Morello's getting the Grievous Wounds treatment, so it's getting giga fucking nerfed. Holy shit, look at this cost. Morello's was a really good item now that I think about it. Like the cost, 2,200 for 90 AP is insane. Now the cost is actually realistic. The AP is lower, but you're getting some health, so that's alright. Rod is getting nerfed, even though I didn't think it was that good. Rylas is getting nerfed, which is fine. Rocket Belt's getting nerfed, in line with what they're saying. Malignant is getting kind of buffed, but not with haste, just with straight damage. Horizon Focus. We're placing Horizon Focus as the clear frontrunner for non-HP ability haste. Wow. And combined with Hypershot, it's still pretty deadly per gold spent. 15 AP is certainly a larger nerf than 5. But with most lost shutdowns losing haste themselves, we're hoping Horizon has a clear purpose. Okay, so let's see what they're doing. They're changing the recipe. The AP is going down by 15, the haste is going up by 5. Yeah, it's exactly what they said. Blackfire is getting nerfed. Okay, not terrible. Crypt Bloom. So this really is, in my opinion, in the same realm as Lord Doms and okay, what the fuck was the other item called? I just forgot it. Lord Doms and Mortal Reminder. This is the name of the Pentakill song. So I feel like Crypt Bloom is honestly, at least from what I remember, right? It's a lot. It either competes directly with Void Staff or just straight up outperforms it because of the heal, which I think is kind of slept on. But Void Staff doesn't have enough of a niche that's too different from Crypt Bloom. I think it provides more like damage and more pen, but not enough to really make it matter to where Crypt Bloom is not a good option, right? Like if you want to hard penetrate people, sure you get Void Staff, but Crypt Bloom does the same thing, but the heal is like really good too. So let's see what they're going to do. I want them to more differentiate this item though. Void Staff is the burst percent pen item, Abyssal Mask is for Juggernauts, and Crypt Bloom is right in the middle with a bit of haste but no innate durability. With a cheaper price tag and appreciable amount of haste, it doesn't need too much AP to do its job. We're also significantly softer the gold scaling of Life from Death passive. Okay. So the Life from Death is getting buffed base damage but nerfed scaling, so this is going to hurt it a lot late game. Play ability power is going down. This is a lot worse now. This is a lot worse. Ludens getting lower haste, so nerfed. Archangel Staff is nerfed. Seraph's is nerfed. Storm Surge, which I think is one of the worst items in the game, personally, is nerfed. Maybe it's better in higher tiers of play, but I hate it. Most of the time, this thing is doing very little damage for me until, I guess, way later on. But at that point, I thought you were supposed to get it first. But either way. Nashor's is nerfed. Sad for Kog'Maw. Landry's is kind of giga nerfed. Cosmic Drive. Cosmic Drive is probably the single most underrated item in the game. I mean, kind of not really. Most mages don't really want Moose because they're not like Lilia or Rise. But I'm not saying it's a bad item, but Well, only Vladimir buys it every game, which is surprising. I thought Lily would too. That list is about 7 names too short. We're delivering typical upfront AP nerfs to a sustained damage time and reducing the extremely high amounts of move speed. This reduction to flat move speed paired with the increase to its duration should make it less dominated by dot mages like Lilia and Bren, and instead allow conventional mages like Victor with or without Blackfire Torch to utilize it. Let's see. So 10 AP nerf, 1% move speed nerf, and now it's just straight up 20 for 4 seconds. I feel like this is terrible. I feel like this is really, really terrible. They kind of gutted this item's move speed, but again, that's what they want, so. Banshee's Veil is nerfed. Damn, the fucking null CD is going up by 10. That's crazy. Lichbane is buffed. Oh my god, they're giving it like 15 more damage. Wow. I mean, granted, they're taking away the move speed, which was really nice about it, but Lichbane is, I think, a secretly good item now. Riftmaker is worse. Shadowflame is worse. All these are worse. Rabadon's is also worse. Damn. Tank items. Tank items are overall fairly weak, like I thought, and as a result are the least nerfed class of this update. Wow. Because tanks suck. We're shifting tank item budgets towards resists and away from health. Ooh. Because, yeah, it really feels like the large health pool does not fucking matter. But armor will definitely help with that. So the armor of Locket is going down. The magic resistance is going down. The damage of Zeke's is going down. Knight's Vow is getting a little bit more expensive. Frozen Heart, the armor's going up. They removed Rock Solid. What? Wow. Okay, so they're giving it a little bit extra armor, but damn, that sucks. Oh my lord. Abyssal Mask is not as good. Okay. Huh. Trailblazer. I've personally barely seen anyone use this fucking item. It's an inferior version of Warmog, so we're delivering buffs to its price and durability. Oh. So it's actually getting buffed in almost every respect but move speed. Iceborne. So this is better for early game. The cost is a lot higher. Spellblade is a little bit better. And the slow is better as well, but not as scaling. That's fine. Sunfires. Sunfires is a little bit worse scaling, better early. Minion damage is going up. Monster damage is going up. But it no longer ramps up. Wow. So it's more just front-loaded. Okay. Thornmail is actually getting cheaper. It's losing health, gaining armor. And the Thorns is getting better early, worse late. Okay. So yeah, kind of what they're saying. This actually seems like realistically like adjustments. Not necessarily hard nerfs, but adjustments. So Hollow Radiance, another item I've almost never bought. Desolation went down, so everything got a little bit nerfed. But now there's bonus monster damage. Unending Despair, which I think is a criminally underutilized item, and I wish it was buffed more because this item should be goofy. Like, if you don't spend time to take down the tank, that tank is going to live and thrive. I feel like this item should basically make you, not really necessarily a threat, but a guy you can't, like, well, not ignore, but because obviously there's trade-offs. This shouldn't make you a jack of all trades, being unkillable and doing damage, unless you're Mundo. But I really feel like they should give you the fantasy of, hey, I will not die unless you really focus me. So they're nerfing the health, they're buffing the armor, that's fine. Force of Nature, probably the best MR item in the game, unless you want healing, which after that is Spirit. But move speed is getting nerfed, the Steadfast speed is getting nerfed, as usual. They're shrinking Spirit Visage, so that no longer is the most expensive MR option. Ooh. So, okay, a little bit of a nerf, but a buff to the cost, not bad. Canik Rookern, I don't really like this item, but it's whatever. It's getting nerfed. Dead Man's Plate, you know, adjusted. We don't need to go through the whole shit. Enchanter items. Similar to ADCs and tanks, enchanters are losing a chunk of their bonus move speed. As is everyone. Shifting enchant items more towards heal and shield power. Interesting. Hopefully that actually brings back actual supports and not damage deal. So the AP of Echoes' Hellia is going down. The Soul Siphon and everything's going kind of down. Moonstone is getting... Wait, they're literally like nerfing everything. Wait, what? Mandate is the first of 2 enchant items. Losing secondary move speed should be purchased as the most aggressive enchanter. It's called Coordinated Fire, not Coordinated Fire. And then run around quickly. Wow. So no more bonus move speed, and it's a little cheaper. Okay, this time's a lot. The move speed was always really good, man. It's it's pretty worse. Ardent is worse, in some ways better than others. Staff of Flowing Water, I feel like, is one of the most terrible items in the game. Like, on paper, it doesn't seem that bad, but it just feels like shit. Like, I don't really like this item. Staff of Flowing Water will always be niche. After all, it's there to make AP carries stronger. There's just not, and there just aren't that many in botling. Yeah, fucking right. We're infested with it. You can certainly buy it later as well as simply buff Victor mid or something. Yeah, like, what the fuck? They're incentivizing people to be AP in bot lane? No. Or they're incentivizing you to, like, not build for the AD? No. Unless you're going Kai'Sa or Kog'Maw, then it's fine. Anyway, many enchant items have been made cheaper. To remove the dangling move speed that was generally hard to appreciate. So, they're nerfing the AP, they're buffing the shield power by 2%, and they're buffing the AP by 15. Wow, that actually gives a lot of fucking AP now. Wow. For 10% move speed, that's actually really fucking good. Redemption is a little bit worse. Dawn Core. If you put a gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to tell you what this item does. When we remade Dawn Core as an Enchanter Capstone... Oh, that's probably why, because I haven't played enough. It took some time to catch on. It's not surprising to see an Enchanter Capstone be rare, since it's hard to get that much gold. We like to place it within reach, so no one's using this shit. So they're nerfing the AP, but nerfing the gold too. Nice. Boots! So this is interesting. I feel like they already took a pass on boots and made boots worse across the board, but let's see. Though there aren't many changes here, we also looked over the various boot upgrades. We expect the basic 300 gold boots to be bought early every game, and we're pricing the resulting upgrades to how we price other legendaries. Easily completed, reasonably efficient tier 2 boots will still be strong purchases, but we're bringing down the top end. So, Greaves are worse, Iron Boots of Lucidia are a little bit worse, Arc Treads are more expensive, and Plated Steel Caps is actually getting a buff. Holy shit, wow. Alright, and here we go. The main thing I wanted to see. Are we back? Lethal Tempo is back with a new rework. Hopefully, well, realistically, it's probably going to be nerfed, but let's see. Let's see how bad. We removed the previous one because too much of its power budget was in pure attack speed. It did give you a lot, which made other sources of attack speed redundant. I wish it broke the cap, but yeah, there was a power scaling issue with this. If other things had granted a turntable effect, this would have been manageable, but less attack range is not that. Which is sad, man. ADCs are getting fucked by this yet again. After giving some time to readjust marksman items, we are bringing back Lethal. This time with an effect that synergizes with your other attack speed purchases. So, now... it's... Oh, wait, so they're not even saying the previous one. So, you gain 4% attack speed if you're ranged. At max stacks, you fire a note. Because this is actually music theme, believe it or not. It's in the name, Lethal Tempo. And in the thing, you actually see a music note behind it in the little icon. It's not that noticeable, though. But either way, you fire a note that deals 9 to 30, 6 to 24 range, increasing by 1% per 1% bonus attack speed as bonus adaptive damage. Lethal Tempo now tracks how many of your attacks against enemy champions are perfectly timed. Wait, what? Attacks launch within 0.25 seconds of when your attack is ready after previously attacking a champion? What does that do exactly? What is the point of that? I guess it's just for tracking purposes, I guess? So it's if you're good at kiting? How much just you straight attack? It's basically stat tracking how many times you hit someone. I guess that's cool, if that's what it actually is. That's right. Presence of Mind. This rune is almost a staple on certain people like Jinx. When I don't remember to take this rune on Jinx, it feels like shit. But let's see. We're happy that Presence of Mind provides fuel for champions to whittle down their opponents, but the current shape predisposes it to damage over time effects, which is true. This new model restores a similar amount of mana for most champions. So they're kind of changing it similar to the AP shit with dot people. So it is now getting giga buffed instantly, and it's an 8-second cooldown. So it's more front loaded, and it has a cooldown rather than being a dot over time thing. I think that's good. I think overall that actually probably helps you more, because if you need the mana instantly and you have to wait to get it over time, in very niche situations, you don't have the mana you need that you would have had with it getting up front. So this is a niche buff. Excuse me. Shield Bash. They want to be more specific. So what are they doing? They are giving it better health and better shield scaling, but no resistances. Fine. Biscuit delivery. I hate this shit. Granted, I take it on Nasus because I have to, but I don't like this shit. We want to reduce mana restoration runes that do not require champion interaction. We're converting the mana restoration of biscuit health. So what are they doing? So 12% missing health. You get bonus max health, but no more mana. Honestly, that's fine. That's more universal anyway. That's fine. Nimbus Cloak. What are they doing with Nimbus Cloak? This is another one where I've only ever used it because I've had to take it on ARAM because I take mana flow by accident on people who don't use mana. We've changed the Nimbus Cloak to feel punchier without being significantly more powerful by changing its flat move speed into a higher intensity decaying one. So they're making you feel like Jinx. The overall distance travel is about the same, but your initial burst will be faster. Overall, I think this is just better. It's the same thing with Presence of Mind. Giving you more at the start when you actually need it is a lot better. So, this is cool. Split 3 QOL updates. So, let's see what these are. Item and shop queuing. Shopping can now be intimidating for new players and pretty nuanced even for veterans. Losers. We want to help players stay on track with purchase and will decrease the amount of time idle gold the player might be unintentionally holding. You can queue your next legendary item by right-clicking it on the shop or selecting in the shop and clicking queue item. That's really fucking good. This is a great quality life change, like I said before. Your queued item will appear in the HUD next to your gold amount as progress bar. Oh, so they're even showing you when you could even buy it. See, that's good. I actually like that. You can always argue like, oh, you know, that's also babying. But there's levels to this shit, and this is a very low level in my eyes. Right-clicking the item will clear it. Left-clicking the item will open your shop directly. Attempting to purchase an item you cannot fully buy will now purchase components. Wow, okay. Well, I'm curious which components it's going to buy, because sometimes you want one side over the other, but okay. Wow. Various shop SFX updates. Nice. Purchase reminder, that's just a nice quality of life thing as well. Jungle combat. This is the one, like I said before, that is kind of babying, but let's see how it works. Jungle invades are one of the more punishing and snowbally interactions for less experienced or weaker junglers. You gotta get good. We want to make it easier to understand when this is happening for people who don't want to look at their map. So this is actually a curious thing because allegedly, right, the big assumption with preseason or with the next season is that they're adding voice chat in. Now, I'm going to go with the assumption that they are, and if they are, this kind of becomes null and void because, you know, I can understand not having time to ping and the players not paying attention because they're laning, but if you have voice chat, that's not really an issue anymore. But I don't want to say this kind of maybe kind of says, oh, we're not getting voice chat, but we honestly don't know. So let's see. Okay. Or at least emphasize why their Lee Sin is 2 levels down against the enemy Nidalee. Oh, that's the other jungler I hated. So it was Elise, Lee Sin, Nidalee. Those 3 need to be removed. We don't expect a massive swing to jungle dynamics with this, which is ironic because I think there might be a little bit. It should be slightly more important to check if your lanes are in a good state before throwing yourself into the enemy's jungle. So how is it actually going to work? Before 14 minutes, when a player enters champion combat in their own jungle, their teammates receive a light audio cue and minimap ping. That's good. That's good. This has a 20-second cooldown, so it doesn't just keep fucking pinging you, which would be funny, but yeah, I don't know. I'm on the side of like, I guess this is good, but this should really be in like regular. This should not be in ranked, personally. This should be in like normal games. Epic objective spawn announcements, or maybe this should be like in like gold and below. Platinum and above, you shouldn't have this. Restricted for certain ranks. But either way, epic objective spawn announcements, I think this is fine. This is just a nice thing to remind you. Tower missile VFX, this is greatly appreciated, and it just has to do more with what League always champions, which is clarity. So this is great. Tower plating and takedown gold. We've done a simplification pass on the way you gain tower plating and local takedown gold. To earn gold, you must damage it personally within the last 10 seconds and be within a certain amount of units, or your Rift Herald damages it, or you're near the tower, or you or anything summoned damaged it within the last 10 seconds, or you're within the tower. What the fuck? So basically just be near it or do something to it. Like, what the fuck? Okay, I feel like nothing changed with that. Anyway, potion highlights, we already talked about this too. ARAM. So this is really interesting because even in the dev update, they said they were cooking something up for ARAM because ARAM has been pretty stale and silent, which in some ways is a good thing because it's ARAM, right? What really can you do to it? But at the same time, if they do something good to it, it'll be highly appreciated. ARAM is probably the last bastion of defense because since Arena is not becoming permanent, sadly, ARAM is the only game mode that's been introduced that has actually stuck around as a permanent mode, which is insane to me. You know, RIP Crystal Scar. But this is probably, they're probably not going to do anything here, but let's see. But I'm really looking forward to what they do with ARAM, especially in terms of mastery. But let's see. We're focusing on adjustments for burst mages due to recent item buffs. We're removing some extra power. Okay. Static shift is on our radar. Okay. Since there's a ton of new item changes, we expect champion items to move a bit. Cool. So like I always say, they shouldn't balance ARAM too much because a perfectly balanced ARAM experience when there's already randomness leads to being very boring, or a lot more boring. So there's buffs, there's nerfs, there's bug fixes, who cares? Victorious Sona! Ooh, I didn't know that was the Victorious skin. During Sona's PvE cycle, we discovered there were a few SFX adjustments, so they did that. Wait, they're launching Sona with her base VF or SFX, but they're gonna add it in later. $1 billion company. World's 24 Viego Splash Border. There's an issue preventing us from delivering Viego Splash Border with the skin inside of 14.19. Damn, a lot of delays. What the fuck? This never used to happen, by the way. So it's just going to be a coming soon card in the token shop, which we're getting probably tomorrow. Nice. It'll be available in the token shop in 14.22 and it will also be available for RP. Ooh. Interesting. Wait, so were we not able to buy it with tokens before and they're putting it in because it's delayed? Huh. Wait. Okay, well, either way. There's a lot of issues here, but whatever. So finally, up to the upcoming skins. I don't know all of these, so I'm going to get surprised by some of them, but let's see. Fright Knight Vagar. This skin, all these skins are probably going to be amazing. I need to check who they're for, though. Let me see. Zeri, Pike, Viego, and then Zeri. Okay, cool. So Vagar getting a skin is amazing. I actually think it's probably going to be the weakest of the bunch, though, because I've seen the way the ult looks. It looks kind of stupid. It's just like a scary face flying at you. But Fright Knight is typically always great, so even though it's the weakest of the bunch, it's still probably good. Victorious Sona looks pretty nice. I gotta see the end game, though. I never saw it. Fright Knight, Nunu, and Willump looks amazing. Great person for the theme. Fright Knight Shaco, same thing. Great person for the theme. Pretty good looking skin. And I really like how there's different colors here. Like, you know, Vagar is more yellowish orange. Nunu is dark blue. Shaco's purple. This is red, green. You know, we have a lot of color variation, which is great. But either way, Shaco's good. Fright Knight Pike, pretty good too. Fright Knight Zeri looks amazing. I'm probably thinking this is probably, if not the new one, probably the best skin of the set here. Then we have World's Viego, who's not even in yet. And then Prestige Fright Knight Zeri, which kind of reminds me of a Halloween Harley Quinn. So pretty good. I might actually end up getting this skin. I usually don't get the skins, but I might get this one. But we gotta see. Either way, here's all their chromas. Here they're in games. They look pretty amazing. And that's pretty much what does it for the patch. So pretty big patch here. A lot of changes. Honestly, a lot of nerfs more than anything. So after this patch, things are going to feel a lot different, right? Now, normally we get nerfs anyway, but not to this level. And again, it makes sense because it's the start of the split, but I'm trying to think how to rate this. So overall, because Lethal's back, I gotta rate it good, but I really dislike the Yuntal Wild Arrows like thing. But the skins are really good too, and I kind of want to take those into account. Overall, ironically enough, I'm gonna rate this patch like a 7.5 Mark Merrills out of 10. I don't want to make it too low because they are doing different changes, and even though it's not going to feel well, because whenever you come from a position of strength and you get weaker, it doesn't feel good. It takes adjustment. But overall, maybe this is healthier for the game, and I like longer games anyway. But I just don't agree with some of the changes. But the skins are amazing, and they're switching things up, which doesn't seem too terrible, especially with my personal likes and needs. Either way, that's going to be it, though. 7.5 Mark Merrills out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me if you did. Tell me if you didn't. And we'll see if I do this in another 2 weeks. Yee!